Welcome to This Week in Morgan County. I'm your host, Russell Mokhiber. Our guest this week is Tom Brooks. Tom, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Russell.
What do you got going?
Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? It's a play I've been wanting to direct and be in since I was 16.
And you are the director, co-director.
That's right.
When's it going to be? Where's it going to be?
It's going to be at the Ice House in Morgan County, West Virginia, Berkeley Springs, October 17th through the 27th. 9 performances.
And why did you choose this play?
This is actually the third time we've tried to get the production mounted here. Third time's a charm. But I've been wanting to do it again ever since I was 16. My dad brought me the 4-album set of the original Broadway cast recording with Uta Hagen, Arthur Hill, George Grizzard, and Melinda Dillon, and I listened to it. Was mesmerized, started reading other Edward Albee plays, and fell in love. And who'd have thunk back when I was 16 that I would be, directing it, co-directing it with my wife Beth, and I'm George, she's Martha.
What's the play about?
The play is about this couple, George and Martha. I'm hoping that people who've seen the movie and think, oh, gee, do I really want to see a play with a bunch of yelling and screaming? It's not that. The play is it's better than the movie, if I may say. I mean, just the version that goes on the stage is excellent. There's a lot of humor. It's about this couple.
They're a university couple, right?
They're a university couple. He's a professor at the college. He has been since they were married. They've been married 23 years. And Martha is the university president's daughter. And there's something going on with them. Again, they've been married 23 years.
Married 23 years, something going on, that's not unusual.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. It's not unusual. What is unusual, the audience will be trying to figure out. We often can't tell, the audience, can't tell whether George and Martha are sparring for fun or sparring for real. And we don't know what it's about. Is it about alcoholism? Not really. Is it about abuse? I guess to a certain level, not physical abuse, but and the thing is that George and Martha love each other, which may not be apparent at first. But there's a younger couple that comes to the house. So there are only 4 people in the cast, the older couple and the younger couple, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning. The play takes place. It plays in real time, from like just after 2 o'clock in the morning till almost dawn. And so the action of the play is continuous.
Wait, it's a 3-hour play?
Yes, with the 2 intermissions, it ends up being just under 3 hours. Yeah.
And you play the university professor?
Yes, I play George.
Who plays your wife?
Beth, my wife, Martha. She plays Martha.
And who plays the other couple?
The younger couple is Nick, is Sam Fairley. Sam is I taught him when I was teaching acting at Shenandoah Conservatory. And we were looking for a young actor who could do this role with what it requires, and Sam came to mind, and I contacted him. I had no idea he was in New Orleans at the time, because if I had known that by looking on Facebook and seeing his status, I'm in New Orleans, which it didn't say that, I wouldn't have reached out to him. So I didn't know, ignorance is bliss, so I called him and or messaged him. Sam, I think that I've got a role that you're interested in, that you would be interested in. I think you'd be awesome. And anyway, we talked, found out in New Orleans, but he was willing to come up. And it's like, really, you're going to do this? Yep. And so he's here. The young woman, the character's name is Honey. That's Rhiannon Griffiths. She is terrific as Honey. And Rhiannon is from Morgan County. She's grown up here.
Is Nick from Morgan County?
He's not. He's from Louisiana.
Okay.
And but he's lived in Winchester for a good deal of the time since he graduated and school. And he's been down in New Orleans for about 8 months, and yanked him back up here. So
nice. let's get back to the play.
Yeah.
So the university professor and his wife host these younger couple.
Yes.
And they're not hiding their differences or whatever's going on with them.
They don't. Now, keep in mind, this is written in 1962. People didn't talk this way to each other. That wasn't the norm. You know, the norm was the American dream. You know, we've got a little house in the suburbs, and we're pleasant to each other. Well, George and Martha don't follow those rules. And now they've spent a number of hours, probably 4 hours, at a faculty party, which George had to attend because he had to attend. George hates Martha's father. Whether that's founded or not, you'll have to find out. So George had to attend. Martha. So they get home at 2 o'clock in the morning, and Martha has invited this younger couple over. Now, the younger couple, Nick, he's a new professor at the college, so he feels obligated. You know, the president's daughter has invited him. He feels obligated to come over 2 o'clock in the morning. They probably weren't planning on staying long, probably hoping to, well, we better go, but they not only are they not able to escape, but for some reason Nick decides he wants to stay for a while longer, doesn't quite know what he's getting into.
Tell us a little bit about the playwright.
Edward Albee.
Because this was his breakthrough play, right?
It really was. He had some success, I believe, off Broadway with his one-act plays. The Zoo Story is one of the most famous early on. But yeah, in 1962, he wrote this play, and its original title was The Exorcism, which is now the title of Act 3. So he wrote this play. He had the beginning and he had the middle. He didn't quite know where it was going. And someone had, I believe the story is, and he confirmed that he found it scrawled either on a bathroom wall or on a napkin or something somewhere, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. And he thought, well, that sounds like a sort of a university level joke, playing off of Who's Afraid of the Big Bad Wolf, of course, and Virginia Woolf, the author who, having committed suicide and had this colorful past, what that translates to essentially is who is afraid of living life without illusions. And George and Martha, the theme, one of the themes of the play is truth and illusion. Who knows the difference? And
this play became a wild success.
Wild success.
Why? What's your interpretation as why it was so successful?
A critic who attended the opening night in New York was listening to people during the first intermission and the second intermission talking to each other, saying, well, people don't talk to each other this way. You know, nobody behaves like this. But no one left. They all went back into the theater, for the next excursion into the darkness to find the truth. And that is essentially what is revealed. So why, the question you ask, and the question that's been asked of me too, is, well, why this play? Why would you want to do this play? Again, because it's not about two people screaming at each other. It's a funny play, it's a dark comedy, and the comedy is there. Edward Albee has a great sense of humor, so we've worked to bring that out as much as we can. So why? It's a cautionary tale, among other things. We like to see the struggle and survival. There are some spoilers that I'm not going to reveal, but if you know the spoilers, don't tell, because there are several things that are revealed, the truth and the illusion, and not all of the truth is revealed, so there's some things we have to ferret through. But people like to go, and they like stories. They like stories of survival. They like stories of evil doings and evildoers, I suppose. They're not everyone in the play is evil or necessarily good. George and Martha are lost. I'll put it that way. They're
Aren't
lost.
we all, though?
Well, yes, and that's why we want to go. How do they find their way, and do they? Because we're left at the end of the play. You'll have to decide what what happens next, after the curtain falls and you're driving home, what do you think happens to them? And I think the indication is fairly clear. My wife at the beginning had a different thought of what the outcome would be. It's kind of like if you've watched the series Breaking Bad, what happens, I won't give spoilers there. Anyway, what happens to the characters? Is this ultimately a good thing or is it ultimately a bad thing? So everything that happens on this one night, is that for the best or not?
Now, they used to just the theater scene in Morgan County a little bit. It seems as if there used to be a lot more activity in terms of theater.
You are correct.
What happened, and why is it coming back, and why is it?
I hope so. So yes, so you're right. The theater scene grew here. We were able to do a couple of seasons of 4 productions each year, like major productions. And in between that, there were smaller things, stage readings, but we had 4 fully mounted productions for a couple of years in a row.
That was when?
Oh geez, ask me years.
10 years ago?
Probably. Yeah, probably about 10 years ago, right around there, and 8 to 10. And then the Ice House had to close for renovations for a while. And that was after we had, I say we, Beth and I and some other directors. We have very few directors in the county. Margie Griffiths, Rhiannon's mother, Rhiannon, who plays Honey in the show. Gary McDaniel, who has directed a couple of things, but he's now moved. And Kirsten Trump has directed here, and that's about it. Right before the Ice House closed down, we had a couple of really large productions, Little Shop of Horrors, which was a great success, some other things, and then the Ice House had to close. So also, Beth and I were kind of burnt out because we had directed several productions in a row, so we took a break, and it was just the timing, and then trying to get the theater scene back on its feet. Now, what happened early on is we had shows like Annie, where we cast little girls. We had Midsummer Night's Dream, where we cast, young boys and girls. And so recently, one of my big projects was to mount Lord of the Flies. And because we're severely lacking young boys, that's an all-male cast, 11 or 12 boys and 1 adult, that's all. And couldn't get enough interest there. So Lord of the Flies is coming back, but we've had a few productions recently and hoping to get that momentum going. After Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf in October, we have in December Tuna Christmas. And it's only 2 actors, but again, it's hoping to get people excited about
I haven't heard of Tuna Christmas. Explain that to me.
Tuna Christmas is a sequel, if you will, to a play called Greater Tuna. And it takes place in the town of Tuna, Texas. And it's essentially, it sort of revolves around a radio broadcast, 2 DJs who work together, and these DJs play all the other characters. Between them, I think there are 12 characters each. So it's costume changes and silliness, and men playing women and men playing men, and it's very silly. And it was so successful, and still is, and there are several other Tuna plays now, but Tuna Christmas is also a big hit. You don't have to have seen the first one to see this, so we thought.
And that's going to be at Christmas?
That's going to be at Christmas this year, yeah.
Okay, so are you back on for a year?
Not quite yet, but we're trying, we, the theater committee, part of the Morgan Arts Council, is we're trying to get that 2 years nailed down, like two years of, whether it's 2 plays or 3 plays or 4 plays. We're just trying to nail it down and say, here's our season, here we are.
What do you think it's, in terms of interest in theater, what impact has the machine had on, the real life theater? For example, like people absorbed in computers and cell phones and so forth, taking them away from human interaction of going to a theater, playing in a theater, that kind of thing. What's your sense of that?
My sense of that is there's a growing interest now to get away from the computers and get into live theater. And as for the reasons of the just difficulty casting a show and getting children involved, that I don't have my head wrapped around. I can make a couple guesses, but as far as the internet and all of that, I think that there are still plenty of people who are ready to be exposed and wanting to be exposed to theater. And as I say that, by the way, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf has adult language and adult content, so it's not one for the kiddies.
And give us the schedule again.
The schedule again is October 17th through the 27th. We do Wednesday night through Saturday night, both weekends, and they all start at 7 p.m. There's one matinee, and that's the first Sunday. Can't pick up the date right off the top of my head, but the first Sunday there's a 2 o'clock matinee.
Okay. What's the capacity in the theater now?
Holds 81.
81. Yeah. And what's it going to cost to get in?
For MAC non-members, it'll be $10 a ticket. If you're a MAC member, it's $8.
And how do people get? You can get them at the door if it's not sold out. But if you want to get them ahead of time,
if you want to get them ahead of time, call the Ice House, which is 304-258-2300. You can also go online to macicehouse.org, and there is a chance we're toying with having online ticketing where people can choose their seats or whatever and pay for their tickets up front. Online, we're not quite there yet. May or may not happen for this production, but if you call or go online, you'll find out there.
Better to get tickets early, obviously.
Better to get tickets early, and what you do is when you call, you're reserving your place in the night. When you come to the theater that night, box office opens an hour early, and that's when you can pay for your ticket and choose your seat. Okay. Unless we can do it online, then. But if that doesn't happen.
But for now, first come, first serve.
For now, first come, first serve. That's right.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Russell.
And we look forward to seeing it.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Our family will be there.
All right. Thanks.
And thank you for watching This Week in Morgan County.